Chiba Prefecture in eastern Japan was struck by exceptionally heavy rainfall on August 13, triggering widespread flooding, rapidly rising water levels and major transportation disruptions across the region. The extreme weather continued into the early hours of August 14, with authorities maintaining warnings over flooding and landslides as saturated ground and swollen waterways remained dangerous. The most severe conditions developed from the afternoon and intensified through the evening, when powerful rain clouds repeatedly formed over Chiba. The Japan Meteorological Agency warned that extremely heavy rainfall could continue over the same areas, raising the risk of flooding in low-lying locations and landslides in areas where the ground had become heavily saturated. A major factor behind the severity of the event was the development of persistent linear rain bands. These bands of thunderstorms can remain concentrated over relatively small areas while repeatedly producing intense rainfall. Authorities warned that linear rain bands could develop across northern and northeastern Chiba, with the potential for the danger from flooding and landslides to increase rapidly. The rainfall intensity was extraordinary. Several parts of Chiba experienced rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters in a single hour, while some locations recorded even higher amounts. The concentrated rainfall caused water to accumulate rapidly on roads and in low-lying urban areas, putting considerable pressure on drainage networks and nearby rivers. Chiba City was among the areas that experienced particularly extreme rainfall. More than 360 millimeters of rain fell within 24 hours in parts of Chiba Prefecture, while the accumulated rainfall in Chiba City reached levels equivalent to roughly 3 times the region's normal rainfall for the entire month of August. The exceptional rainfall also broke rainfall records in parts of the prefecture. The sheer amount of water falling over a short period overwhelmed drainage systems in some locations, resulting in rapidly rising floodwater across roads, residential districts, and other low-lying areas. Flooding became particularly visible in urban areas. Roads were covered by water, vehicles became stranded and pedestrians were forced to navigate through flooded streets. Footage from the area around Ichikawa showed floodwater reaching significant depths near transportation facilities, while other parts of Chiba also reported extensive inundation on roads and around residential neighborhood. The situation was further complicated by rising rivers and waterways, with intense rainfall continuing over already saturated areas. Authorities warned that river levels could rise rapidly and that flooding could spread into surrounding communities. The danger was especially high in low-lying areas where drainage capacity was limited by the volume of incoming water. Japan's meteorological agency responded to the worsening conditions by issuing its highest-level heavy rain special warning for 14 municipalities in Chiba Prefecture. The Level 5 warning represented an extremely dangerous situation and urged people in areas at risk of flooding or landslides to take immediate action to protect themselves. The emergency warnings reflected the speed at which conditions deteriorated. Heavy rain that initially appeared in localized areas repeatedly expanded and intensified, making it difficult for drainage systems and waterways to cope with the accumulating water. Authorities urged residents not to approach rivers, flooded roads, underpasses or other locations where water levels could rise suddenly. The flooding also caused significant disruption to the road network. Several major highways in Chiba were closed because of inundated roads and hazardous conditions. Routes connecting the prefecture with the Tokyo metropolitan area and Narita Airport were particularly important, as closures affected both local traffic and travelers attempting to reach the airport. Railway services were similarly affected. Several lines in Chiba experienced suspensions or significant disruptions because of the heavy rainfall and flooding. Services connecting the prefecture with Tokyo and Narita Airport were among those affected, creating difficulties for commuters, residents and travelers during one of the busiest periods of Japan's summer holiday season.
これひょっとして私駐車場から出られるからやばいっすけどこれかなりあっちもなんかあっちの水も困ってるすでにもう浸水していますこれは非常にやばい状態だと思います
The transportation disruption became especially significant around Narita International Airport. Because railway and bus connections were interrupted, thousands of travelers were unable to leave the airport after arriving in the region. Airport authorities provided travelers with necessities including water, food and sleeping bags while transport services were being restored. Bus transportation was also disrupted, with highway closures and flooded roads forcing some highway bus services to suspend operations or alter their schedules. Operators reported cancellations caused by expressway closures and inundated roads, particularly on routes connecting Tokyo with Narita Airport. The storm also caused power disruptions across parts of Chiba. Thousands of households lost electricity as the severe weather affected local infrastructure. The combination of power interruptions, flooded roads, and disrupted public transportation created difficult conditions for residents attempting to move around the affected communities. Although Chiba experienced the most severe conditions, the effects extended into the wider Tokyo metropolitan region. Tokyo and neighboring areas also experienced periods of intense rain and thunderstorms as the same unstable weather system affected the Kanto region. The close transportation links between Tokyo and Chiba meant that disruptions in Chiba quickly affected journeys to and from the capital. However, the most extreme flooding and highest-level warnings were concentrated in Chiba rather than central Tokyo. The event was therefore primarily a Chiba flooding disaster with wider consequences for the Tokyo metropolitan transportation network. As rainfall gradually weakened on Friday morning, the most intense downpours began to ease, but the danger remained. Rivers were still swollen and the ground heavily saturated, leaving some areas vulnerable to renewed flooding and landslides if additional rain developed. Authorities urged residents to continue monitoring official warnings, avoid flooded roads and rivers, and remain prepared to move to safer locations if conditions deteriorated again.